Hey there, boys. Today we're going to be talking about skimmers versus sparrows. I've seen a lot of people concerned that sparrows are obsolete now. People are worried about FOMO regarding the skimmers, which obviously makes sense if they were going to be way better than sparrows. However, I wanted to basically talk about them and compare them to each other at an objective level and see what their advantages and disadvantages are compared to each other. So let's go ahead and get into that and have a look at skimmers versus sparrows. So looking at it from a basic perspective, the skimmers seem to have similar health to sparrows. They also have the same base boost speed. However, where the differences start is going to be in where fuel is used in these vehicles. On a sparrow, you use your fuel by dodging side to side. They have made it so that both vehicles do not drain fuel by using the regular boost anymore. That includes sparrows as well. So sparrows are now only using fuel on their side to side dodges, whereas skimmers use fuel by either rail grinding or doing their little hop. Now, because of that alone, I think that makes skimmers much more controllable on the ground just because you can dodge as many times as you want, and you could sort of just go a lot faster, and instead of having to maneuver around obstacles, you can just dodge around them much faster. However, there's also some really cool tricks you can do with the boards that you couldn't do on sparrows, so we're going to go ahead and have a look at those. There's currently two main techs for the boards, and that's going to be what I'm going to call board spinning and board climbing. Board spinning is a way to go super duper fast on flat ground. It's not quite as fast as slipstreaming through the air, however it is much easier to pull off. Literally anybody could do this. I could probably do it with my feet. If you want to board spin, all you have to do is mash a strafe key and the boost button and just mash them both at the same time, and you'll pretty much just start flying forwards at really high speeds. I believe you can also go faster by adjusting your camera towards the opposite direction of the boost when you are boosting. However, you will still go quite a lot faster than normal speed if you are just boosting and strafing on repeat. I like to not do much with my camera because it lets me have much more control. I can sort of fly through tight spaces even with this, and I can switch which direction I'm dodging very easily to allow me to maneuver around obstacles faster. This has to be one of my favorite techs in the game right now. It's so goofy looking, but it is actually amazing. The other big tech we have is what I'm calling board climbing, which lets you climb up walls using the board. While I think sparrow flying is significantly better than this is still a little bit easier than sparrow flying, however it is also quite a bit slower. So this is pretty much just Mickey Mouse strats sparrow flying. If you have a friend who's not very good with the game and you want to help them get up something that you sparrow flew up, they might be able to use board climbing to get up it. To do board climbing, it's really simple. All you have to do is face your side into a wall and then start dodging towards the wall repeatedly. Just mash the key and also mash your jump button at the same time, and you will just slowly shift up the wall. If you run out of fuel going up the wall, all you have to do is just keep spamming dodge and it will pretty much keep you in place, and you just let your fuel replenish and then get back to jumping. The fact that we already have tech for these boards immediately after the release tells me that there might be more cool stuff in the future to come, and I'm really excited to see where the Sparrow Tech community takes it because I'm sure that they are doing everything they can to find every way to break these boards. So I will say, for the majority of players in the game, the Skimmer is just going to be a better vehicle for you than a Sparrow. However, the difference still isn't massive. You could still get around very quickly on a Sparrow, and obviously it's not that hard to manage having 6 dodges, especially since now they're cooling down while you're boosting even. In general, Sparrows have a lot of advanced tech behind them. There's been a very hardcore community behind Sparrow tech, and there is a ton of crazy things they can do, from just spinning around like a top in place, to even desyncing themselves with the server and using it to teleport. In my eyes, Sparrows are now going to be for advanced tech mainly, because I do think Skimmers are going to be better for regular movement. However, I don't necessarily think this is a bad thing. I absolutely think there should be that Sparrows do better than Skimmers, and right now, there is. I know that a lot of people were saying that Skimmers were going to obsolete Sparrows, but I really don't think that's the case. There's a lot of things that Skimmers just can't do that Sparrows can. That being said, the real advantage with Sparrows is going to be their verticality. Like I said, they are much better at going up than the Skimmers. The Skimmers literally only have their little mini hop, which you can only do when you're on the ground. There's no other way to make it go up. Whereas, obviously with Sparrows, you have the ability to Sparrow fly, which is not a very hard tech to learn. Even I've been able to learn that, and that's the only Sparrow tech I know how to do. It's definitely the simplest thing to do, and it's something anybody can learn to do, even on controller. Sparrow flying alone gives sparrows a unique ability that the skimmers just simply can't do in being able to go up infinitely. And this is useful in a lot of endgame situations. However, if you're playing the game as intended for the most part, you won't ever need to do any sparrow flying. We also have to look at slipstreaming, which is the advanced way for sparrows to fly very far, very fast. Slipstreaming has a couple of different variants, but mainly the point is that it is about rotating your vehicle in a certain way and then dodging at the right time to make it send you slightly up and very far forwards. This is one that I'm not able to do. It's one of the harder techs in the game, and it is definitely very rewarding if you are able to learn how to do it. If you ever want to see an amazing application of slipstreaming, I highly recommend you watch the entrance of any Deepstone Crypt speedrun. They're pretty much all slipstreaming at this point. The closest thing that skimmers have to slipstreaming is going to be their rail grinding thing, where they can basically maintain their height for a pretty long length of time. However, there's two big disadvantages. Firstly, this is just not infinite, like you can't do the board grinding infinitely, whereas slipstreaming is something that they have figured out how to do infinitely. The other issue is that it is insanely slower. It is so much slower than strip slimming, it's just not even fair. The rail grinding is just really slow overall. You could even go faster just doing regular eager swinging, maybe even just snap canceling. It's a very slow movement. While it is very safe and very easy to do, it's just not as advantageous as being able to slipstream. So automatically, speedrunners and advanced endgame players are going to have more use out of sparrows for doing those endgame use cases. That being said, once again, the casual players are probably going to have a better time on the skimmer, and it's going to open up a world of movement that they weren't ever able to do because obviously they couldn't slipstream and they didn't really have any way to just stay in the air that long. And finally, I want to include well skating / shatter skating in this and where they stand. I know that this is obviously something you can do without a vehicle, you can do literally anywhere that there's a ledge, so it's much more universal than sparrow tech or skimmers. However, it is still a way of going fast, and it is something that I would compare to the ways of going fast on the vehicles as well. In comparison to these vehicle techs, I think that well skating can be seen as a big burst of speed that very quickly falls off. While the initial speed of a well is pretty much one of the fastest things in the game, it very quickly falls off when you're looking at the more consistent speeds that you're getting on these vehicles. This is even the case with regular sparrow movement, just using the sparrow as intended, using the skimmer as intended. The well skate still falls off after a few seconds and starts going slower than this vehicle's. And with these techs, this is even more prevalent. While the first few seconds of a well skate is faster than board spinning, it quickly gets slower. I personally really like the addition of skimmers to the game. I think they add a lot of cool new tricks and introduce some dumbed down versions of things that you could do with advanced sparrow tech for regular players to do. Anyways, let me know your opinion down in the comments below. Do you think that they were a good addition? Do you think they're going to obsolete sparrows, or do you think that sparrows are still better? Also, if you enjoyed this video and you've been watching all the way to the end, I really appreciate it, and you should definitely subscribe to see future videos from me. Bye bye!